with the Tyreek trade kind of marinated in my brain, there's a few things we need to talk about when it comes to the way people are perceiving that trade and the truth to that trade. What is up, Fin fans? Late night video for me. I'm probably just going to record it Monday early, and we'll see if news breaks. Again, if news breaks, you get it from me. But Tyreek trade happened, right? I think that happened on Thursday or Friday. I don't remember. And I took some time to sit back and assess it, right? Because I love the trade. Tyreek is just going to make this team so much better by taking a lot of attention away from Waddle, Gesicki, Wilson, the run game. Like, he is there's a reason he got the contract he did, and there's a reason that 12 different teams were trying to get him. But the trade happened, and then there was like an avalanche of ridiculousness, I guess you can call it. And I'm not talking about the MTV show. So we're going to talk about that. I don't know what I titled this video yet, but I know that it involves Tua. And it involves a lot of talking points and narratives that are just, they don't make sense. Now, before we jump into that, because I'm going to start rambling, and I gotta remember to shout out some new patron and some new members. On the Patreon side, John, thank you so much, brother, for joining the Patreon. And on the member side, Apizzle90, Grayson Pierce, Andrew Dozier, and Wolf. Thank you guys so much for becoming members and patrons. You guys are the best. I got a lot of stuff planned for you guys, so thank you so much for joining. But yeah, I'm gonna jump into this, and first there's a Barry Jackson article that I want to talk about, because Finside the NFL, if you haven't checked them out, very good stuff with Reason over there. He was talking about this article, and I was like, let me check it out before I hear him talk about it, because I don't want it to be spoiled. Let me check it out, and that's what we're gonna go over right now. He played a ton of clips of different people talking about different stuff when it came to this trade, and I was like, I got some things I want to say about this, because, again, the trade happened, Dolphins gave up, and I don't think the Dolphins gave up too much for Tyreek Hill, right? The first and the second, they only gave up one first, then a fourth, and a sixth, and then another fourth, and then, like, it wasn't a lot for me personally, especially because we had 2 fourths this year. But Barry Jackson came out with an article that is titled, Analysts Turn Dolphins Hill Pickup into Referendum on Tua Tagovailoa. And it's enough already. And he hit the nail on the head. So we're going to see what Barry Jackson has to say, and then I'm going to go into a little bit more detail on my thoughts on everything, right? So he starts out by saying Tyreek Hill hadn't even been a Dolphin for an hour when the narrative predictably turned to who else? Tua. If Tua doesn't become the same dude we saw at Alabama, it's time to move on, former NFL safety Ryan Clark bellowed. Former NFL executive Mike Tannenbaum said, it's reasonable to think by Halloween you could see Teddy Bridgewater taking over for Tua if there are any bumps in the road. Multiple local columnists announced that Tua is out of excuses, and why exactly is any of this news? Now, before I jump into the rest of the article, I can kind of see where they're coming from. Right? Because for his first 2 years, you saw Tua deal with a lot, right? His first year, by the time he got to the Chiefs game, he had no starting wide receivers on the field. The offensive line was okay in 2020. Last year, it was the worst in the NFL. He had no run game for either years. He didn't have any amount of success to build around him. So that's where a lot of people were coming in saying, well, that's not fair to really give a good assessment on him with X, Y, and Z happening. So I could see where certain people are coming from, because right now the Dolphins are doing everything in their power to put everything around Tua Tagovailoa, and they want to win. They want to win now, and you could tell by the way they are doing what they're doing this offseason. Whereas previously with Brian Flores, it was more, we're going to build for the future so it could be consistent winning. Where it's now, it seems like, you know, they have guys for the next couple of years, especially Tyreek Hill. They have him for a minimum of 4 years. They're trying to win. They're going after him, and they're trying to win. So I could see where the no excuses comes in, and you know, this is it. But Mike Tannenbaum saying by Halloween, you see Bridgewater, it's like, come on. He says, everyone knows that Tua must be better in year 3 to be viewed as a long-term franchise quarterback. Yes, 100%. The Dolphins augmented this offense around him doesn't change any of that or increase the pressure on Tua or stop any excuses that Tua himself have never made. And that is true. Tua takes a lot of blame for a lot of stuff that isn't his fault. We understand ESPN zeroing in on Tua's angle and analyzing the on Hill trade. Quarterback talk and drama is what ESPN believes drives viewership and studio shows. 100%. 100%. Why do you think we all react to it, get pissed off about it, and all that stuff? With my brain is just not working. I can't remember his name now, and I'm very happy I can't. Coward. Just constantly, and even Joy Taylor at one point going after Tua and all that stuff, and Skip Bayless and all those guys. Wow, I couldn't even think of his name, and now I'm upset that I remembered his name. Tannenbaum, who hasn't done excellent work transitioning to a broadcasting job, was particularly tough on Tua. Outside of Davis Mills and Mitch Trubisky, I'm not sure what other quarterback Tua would be in front of in the AFC, Tannenbaum said. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Besides Davis Mills and Mitch Trubisky, I'm not sure what other quarterback Tua would be in front of in the AFC. Wilson, the Jets quarterback. Tua is better than him. And if you tell me he's not, then if I go through the comment section and you tell me that Tua is not better than Wilson, Zach Wilson of the New York Jets, I'm not reading your comments anymore. You are blinded by an unwarranted hatred for Tua, and you are the most biased person ever. If you tell me right now that you think Zach Wilson is better than Tua Tagovailoa. Tua has missed 10 games. His play has been average at best. He has trouble seeing the middle of the field and can't get the ball down the field consistently. I'm gonna talk about this more. I have notes now, so because sometimes I say I'm going to talk about this more, and then I end up not doing it. Can't get the ball down the field consistently. Keep that in mind, right? I'm not going to disprove it, but just keep that in mind. With Waddle and Hill, he has no excuses. He doesn't. Of all the quarterbacks in the NFL, he has more pressure on him than anyone, and Bridgewater is a very capable quarterback. It's not unreasonable to think that he could be playing sometime by midseason, sooner than later if Tua hits any bump in the road, given everything he has to work with. My concern is Tua was 23rd in the NFL last season in yards per attempt. He struggles to get the ball down the field consistently. There's a lot of variables in those things. And again, I'm not going to talk about it because I don't feel like people saying, oh, you making excuses. It's just, if you know football, it's not as black and white as they're making it out to be. Coach McDaniel will probably try to move the pocket, cut the field in half, and have a lot of plays for Waddle and Hill that are catch and run that play to Tua's strength and try to maximize Tua's ability that way. There are no more excuses. They're giving him everything a quarterback could want and then some. They don't need to move him out of the pocket if the offensive line plays like they should. He can stay in the pocket. He actually has fantastic, and I'm not saying good. I'm not saying, oh, he's all right. I'm saying fantastic pocket presence. And if you don't think so, again, you need to take your bias glasses off. I've seen him make tons of play where he steps up in the pocket, moves, makes throws. Fantastic pocket presence. Clark chimed in, Dolphins will know by the end of the season if Tua is their franchise quarterback. There are no more excuses. Everyone will be saying, what's the excuse now, Tua? Again, Barry Jackson might not like it, but I kind of agree. They're giving you everything you need. There's no excuse anymore. But again, where's this excuse narrative coming from? Tua has never blamed his inconsistent play on anyone else. Some Tua supporters cited the lack of sturdy offensive line, substandard run game, and that's justified. Again, I see where Barry's coming from. Tua will never point fingers Well, I had to deal with 3 offensive coordinators. I had to deal with one of the worst offensive lines. My wide receivers can't stay healthy. I turn around and do a play action. I got a defender in my face. How would you like me to produce? You want me to throw the ball down the field? I step back, go to throw. The guy's not even open yet. He's about 5 yards down the field. I get pressure in my face. When would you like? He never does that. This is stuff that people that know football say, but he never does that. He's always like, I need to do better. I need to do this. I need to do that. And that's just Tua. It is what it is. Beyond a handful of elite quarterbacks who exactly would have thrived with an offensive line that yielded 247 pressures and a running game that averaged 3.5 per carry, Tua hasn't been great, but he hasn't been awful either. Yes, Barry. I've been saying that forever. People want to say he's trash, he's a bum, he's a bust, yada, yada. No. He's 13-8 as a starter. I don't give records to quarterbacks because then you got to get it's a fine line with that. And his first 16 starts per passer rating topped those of Baker Mayfield, 88.9, Tom Brady, 88.3, Matt Ryan, 87.7, Kyler Murray, 87.4, Kirk Cousins, 81.7, Carson Wentz, 79.3, Derek Carr, 76.6, Ryan Tannehill, 76.1, Matthew Stafford, 75.8, and Josh Allen, 70.8. So essentially what he says there is he started at 13-8 as a starter, and his first 16 passer ratings topped. So essentially his first 16 games, his passer rating was better than Baker Mayfield, Tom Brady, Matt Ryan, Kyler Murray, Kirk Cousins, Carson Wentz, Derek Carr, Ryan Tannehill, Matthew Stafford, and Josh Allen in their first 16 games. Tua's 66.7 completion percentage is in his first 16 games. It's 67% if his 2 games off the bench are included. Oh, I gotcha. Ranked second amongst arguably the NFL's top 20 current quarterbacks behind only Dak Prescott. Tua threw only 11 interceptions in his first 16 games, which is tied with Ryan and Justin Herbert for fewest picks among those 20 quarterbacks. In the first 2 years, he has been much better, 88.8 rating than Trevor Lawrence in his first year, 71.9, and nobody is subjecting Trevor Lawrence to the same scrutiny that Tua's endured. Yes, 100%. Trevor Lawrence looked like garbage his rookie year. But after his rookie year, no one was like, well, I got rid of Tua. Tua's a bust. Tua sucks. Tua this. Tua that. Tua Tagovailoa converted third downs. Tua converted third downs into first downs 46% of the time last season, which was 5th best in the league. And people blame Tua for stalled offensive drives. People blame Tua for the lack of offensive points. People blame Tua for the defense being tired. Do you see where I'm getting with? And this is why there was that running joke when Tua was injured, that when anything went wrong, we blamed Tua. 46% of the time, Tua converted third downs to first downs. Should it be higher? Maybe. Of course, Tua must be better, 100%. I'm not disagreeing with that. But I'm not sure why it's being framed in such a negative light, as if he's a borderline bust when he's nothing close to that. I already can feel the certain people that I know are going to comment that he is, and yada yada, bing bang bing. And I haven't even gotten to, I'm at 13 minutes in the video. I haven't even gotten to the good stuff I want to talk about. If the season is a disaster, and I hope it's not, Tua is likely gone, says Kyle Brandt. We already have doubts about your ability to stay healthy, your arm strength. He has a nice little side story of the NFL for a couple of years. Now he's pivotal. He's part of the massive construction. You can't drive this Ferrari who we can't keep going with you. And I'm not disagreeing with that. Unfortunately, his first 2 years, he dealt with a lot of garbage. He dealt with a head coach who seemed to not want him after drafting him. And he dealt with a lot. And again, don't tell me that Brian Flores didn't want him. Go back and watch my videos, because that's just not true. So he didn't really have much support. Now he does. But now you need to show that This is what you needed. This is where it comes in that now Tua has to show this is what he needed. He needed a head coach that has his back. He needs the GM to give him his weapons, and he needs to build the offense around him. This is all I needed, guys. Now watch this. 5,000 yards passing, 25 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. Dolphins go 11 wins, make the playoffs. To me, that's all right. Yeah, you showed that you're the franchise quarterback. Heck, NFL net Cynthia Freeland went as far as to say Dolphins should trade for Jimmy Garoppolo. Just Jimmy Garoppolo is Tua Tagovailoa right now. I think they are on par, same quarterback right now. How long has Jimmy Garoppolo been in the NFL versus how long has Tua Tagovailoa been in the NFL? And I think they're on par with each other right now. Tua has what he needs, says former linebacker Teddy Bruschi. All this does is shorten the leash. Conclusion, time is coming. If you don't show me what you got with all the pieces we've given you, they may be thinking, is this the guy that we want to get going to do it for us? We're building our team for the next guy that's going to come in. That's what that I'm sure is the thought process of Miami. The pressure is on. Show us what you got, kid. We've put everything around you. Now, I wouldn't go as far as to say they're making this team for the next guy to come in. I think they're just making the best team they possibly can. And unfortunately, if Tua isn't that guy, and if Tua is still a little faltery and a little lackadaisical, I'm trying to think of adjectives to use, they're going to move on from him. Because again, as much as Mike McDaniel's coming in, as much as Mike McDaniel's saying, FaceTiming with him first and yada yada bing bang bing, he didn't draft him. That's not Mike McDaniel's quarterback. Even though the reason Mike McDaniel got the job is because he had a very good talking point that I can make him what you want. I doubt the Dolphins are thinking that they're building our team for the next guy. Exactly, Barry. To come in. If Tua falls, then Miami has the draft ammunition, 2 first-round picks next year, a second and a third in 2023. They got a ton of ammunition next year. This year they don't got much, so it's going to be a fun draft live stream to move up and draft a quarterback. But enough with the excuses narrative. He's the most talented quarterback this franchise has had since Dan Marino, and his first 2 years were strong enough to earn a third. He's the most talented quarterback this franchise has had since Dan Marino. I wouldn't go that far. I don't know if again, it's too soon for me to tell, but I wouldn't go that far as that to say he's the most talented quarterback this franchise has had since Dan Marino. I don't know yet. I got to see this year, but I wouldn't say no. I don't know yet. I'm just going to leave it at that. Acquiring Hill and Teron Armstead and the other new offensive pieces doesn't raise the pressure on Tua. There already that understood expectation that he would either improve in 2022 or the Dolphins are going to look elsewhere for the quarterback. So can't Dolphin fans enjoy the additions of the NFL's best playmaker without it being always about Tua? And that last line is perfect, Barry. You nailed it on the head. They bring in Tyreek Hill, and instead of being like, Dolphins got a new weapon, they're going to be dangerous, yada, yada, they bring in Teron Armstead. Dolphins going to be dangerous. Now they can get a run game going. Tua will have time in the pocket, blah, blah, blah. Don't forget, Tua doesn't, this is it. This is it for Tua. If Tua doesn't do it, yada, yada, we're going to move on from him, this, and that. And I see where he's coming from, right? Now we're going to get into all the things I want to talk about. So, Dolphins trade for Tyreek Hill, right? And there's a huge uproar. From the Dolphin fan base, we're like, we got one of the best wide receivers in the NFL. Super dynamic. He can take something. Like, no one thought the Dolphins had a chance of getting him. Go back and watch my reaction to it. He's a 5th-round pick, 65th selection. And the Dolphins gave up so much for him. He's only 5'10". He's short, but he is fast. And it was within an hour that it was broke that the Dolphins are interested in him, and then they got him. Like, it was real quick. But as soon as it happens, right, there's the Dolphin fan base that was happy about it. There was the little Dolphin fan base that are like, you ever see a legal Major League, And you know when the Cleveland Indians start losing, that one fan who's also, I forgot the actor's name, but he also in Independence Day kind of turns his head upside down, and he's always like, "Rah." And then they start winning, and he's like, yeah, but we're going to lose the next game. And then he's like, oh, Wild Thing, you suck. You make me cry. There's a certain section of the fan base that's like that. The Dolphins literally can go and win 15 games and go to the Super Bowl. And that's a little section of the fan base right now. I go, wow, but they're going to lose it and break my heart. Like, but that little section of the fan base. And the Jets fans, not all of them, because Ian from Jet Central was very unbiased. And like other fan bases were coming out and saying, well, how is Tua going to get the ball to him? Tua can't throw it down the field. And Tyreek Hill this and blah, 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 blah. And that's where I'm like, let me make a video about this stuff. Because I read Barry Jackson's article and I was like, that's a good article. I'm going to react to that. Patrick Mahomes' average depth of passing last year was 7.3 yards. Tua Tagovailoa's average depth of passes was 7.1 yards. 0.2 yard difference between him and Patrick Mahomes. And before you go in the comment section and say anything about me comparing and saying Tua is just as good as Patrick Mahomes, don't do it. What I'm saying is Patrick Mahomes wasn't really trying to push the ball down the field last year just as much as Tua, because they are 0.2 yard difference in their ball depth if their passes. So Tyreek Hill coming to Miami now all of a sudden isn't going to have a drop in production like some people are saying. Also, he had 1,000-yard receiving when Alex Smith was his quarterback, and Patrick Mahomes was riding the pine. The other thing that I want to talk about is that narrative. And this is where I wanted you guys to remember what Mike Tannenbaum said. It drives me, and this is where people think I'm a two in the ear, right? It drives me nuts when people push narratives that are false. If you said what Mike Tannenbaum said, which was Tua doesn't push the ball down the field consistently, 100% with you. Yep, I agree. And I leave it at that because I agree. You are not wrong. Correct. What else you got? That's how I'd react to that. But that's not what people say. And that's not what drives me to do what I'm about to do right now, which is pop up videos and talk about the fact that people say Tua can't throw the ball more than 5 yards. Tua doesn't throw the ball down the field. Tua can't throw the ball down the field. That is not true. And that's where I come out and I, like, again, if I'm on Twitter or if I'm making a video or if I'm on a live stream and somebody says Tua's inconsistent and it drives me nuts, I'd be like, I'm right there with you, man. I agree. He needs to work on his inconsistencies. Or if someone says, like Mike Tannenbaum, he doesn't throw that onto the field consistently, or he doesn't make those wow throws consistently, I'm like, I agree. You nailed that on the head, man. It's the people who say he doesn't, he can't, and he won't. That's not true. And you can see from the videos I'm popping up, he throws it down the field 20 yards. Just so you know, these videos that I'm popping up, I don't know if they're still going, are from last year and the year before. So he's been consistently trying to attempt to throw the ball down the field. Now, he hasn't consistently done it. I just contradicted myself. He has consistently tried, but he hasn't consistently done it. You know what I'm trying to say? So essentially, over the past 2 years, and I'm not showing all 58 attempts he's had, but over the past 2 years, he's attempted to throw the ball down the field 20 plus yards 58 times. I didn't show you, or I'm not continuing to show you 58 passes down the field. But to say that now that we got Tyreek Hill's going to be wasted because Tua can't throw the ball down the field past 5 yards is just the most asinine thing I've ever heard. Especially because last year, Tyreek Hill, his amount of targets of 20 plus yards downfield was 28. So he was targeted 28 times, 20 plus yards down the field. Do you know how many times Tua attempted passes 20 plus yards down the field last year in 2021? 29 times. There you go. He's just going to throw all 29 of them at him. You see what I'm saying? Like, do you pick up what I'm putting down? Regardless if you like Tua or not, do you hear you? You criticize Tua? I criticize Tua. He's inconsistent. He needs to be more consistent with his passing, with his gameplay, and with his reads. Is what it is. But I never say he can't do it and he doesn't do it, and because he does. Don't make such a finite, definite answer when it's not true. That's all I'm saying. Because he does attempt them down the field. 58 times. It should be more. But again, if you know football, more coincides with that happening, especially when you have no run game, so they're not respecting the run, and they're dropping their safeties back, and they're only giving you things underneath. You're going to take what you give you. It is what it is. You have a good run game like the LA Chargers do with Austin Eckler, they're going to bite. You're going to be able to toss the ball down the field. Same thing with Joe Mixon, Cincinnati. You're going to bite. You'll be able to toss the ball down the field. If you got no run game, they're not going to respect the run, play the line of scrimmage, crowd the line, and you have nothing deep downfield. Also, when they send 4 and you have to block 7 to get at least time to throw down the field, that's where the problem is. So again, this whole narrative that Tyreek Hill coming to Miami is going to lose production because Tua doesn't throw down the field is just not true. I showed you how many videos, and that's not even all 58 of his attempts down the field. It's just not true. And like Barry Jackson said, we make these moves and instantly people want to crap on Tua. It makes me root for him harder. And the funny thing is, I root for him hard enough because he's the Dolphins quarterback. I don't care who the Dolphins quarterback is. I'm going to root for them. We had Ray Lucas. I was rooting for him. We had Joey Harrington. I was rooting for him. That Detroit game on Thanksgiving, I was as happy as can be for him. But there's a certain, part of this fan base that roots against Tua. And I don't understand it. I can't see it. I consider myself a very even-keeled person when it comes to Tua. I'm not a hater and I'm not a stan. I see where he needs to work on and I see what he's good at. So, I don't get it. But I hope you guys enjoy this video. Sunday night, I thought I'd make this video for you guys. But I'm releasing it Monday. But if you're a patron or you're a member, you got to see it early because I'm going to release it early for you guys. But I hope you guys enjoy this video. If news breaks of any more moves happening, trades, this or that, if they happened while this video's released, I'm going to be making that video. So if you get to the end and you're like, but Doug, or if you comment, hey, this happened, I already know and I'm working on it. But other than that, guys, I will see you maybe in another 10 minutes, or I'll definitely see you tomorrow. But like usual, stay classy and fence up.